Hi, my name is Holly Dorning-Savage. I'm the Skills Training Manager. I manage Habitat for Humanity's construction training program. I've been doing this for the last 2 years. I've been working with Habitat overall for about 7 years. I started out as an AmeriCorps construction crew leader and then became a full-time site supervisor working on our historic rehabs, and then worked as a repair coordinator before I stepped into this role in April of 2023.
And I am Felicia. I started as an AmeriCorps with Habitat. I have been here a total of a little over 5 years. I did AmeriCorps for about a year and a half, and then I became a site supervisor. And then the last year I have been down here with Holly, helping her with the construction training program. So being in a male-dominated field, you do notice it. We're talking about this for a reason. We have our construction training class, and on average we have 1 to 2 women in each of the class. As far as being out in the field, I wouldn't say, it's not an easy job. But I do remember older gentlemen just not having the respect for me as a leader, whether it's because I was a woman or because I was younger. But yeah, just a general respect, and then you have to earn it,
Yeah.
Just do your job every day and let them know that you're no different than anybody else.
Yeah, and I think, entering construction, like you said, first of all, it is a hard job, right? It's physical, there's a lot of technical things you gotta know, and it can be intimidating stepping onto a job, and it's intimidating starting any new job, right?
Yeah.
But in construction, especially when I became a site supervisor, right, I was supposed to be the one who knew everything and how to do everything. I was still learning, but when I was telling other people, especially men, there was sometimes that judgment that maybe I didn't know what I was talking about, or they would question my techniques and things that I had done for years and knew how to do, because when I went to school for this trade and I was taught by somebody else in following plans, and there was sometimes that built-in questioning by other, mostly men in the field. Oftentimes they thought they knew more or had more experience, and sometimes they did. And so it was a balance of
setting your ego aside.
Right. It was, being like, okay, maybe I do need to learn something, but then it was also balancing like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I've done this. I've had this experience. You need to take that from me, and I'm in charge of the site.
Yeah, stand up for yourself.
And it's not an easy thing to do at all, right? And so over the years, I find it's about finding your confidence, which has always been a struggle for me in general. But in construction, you can say there's a right and a wrong way to do things, which there is, but there's multiple ways to get to that end goal sometimes. And it's about accepting feedback, but also sticking up for yourself.
I think it's about being given a chance. So one of the benefits, I guess, of starting as an AmeriCorps with Habitat is they had no reason to give us a chance at leadership other than what we were doing every single day on site, showing up to work, working hard, having that eagerness and hunger to learn things. But I don't think a lot of women get even their foot in the door. They're not getting callbacks. They're not getting interviews for those positions. We were kind of lucky that Habitat saw something in us, and we're pretty good at what we do. But it was just like being given that chance.
Yeah, because and too, a lot of, you can go through a construction management program or something like that, right, which will set you up for a leadership role. But I feel like in some companies, a lot of the leadership roles start out as the laborers or the technicians or something, and eventually their years of experience allow them to become a supervisor. But if on average women aren't entering those trades and getting that experience, they're not able then to, one, be given the opportunity to move up, I think, too. And we were talking about this, like being a woman, because it is so far, there's so few of us sometimes on a job site. Like, either you stand out as being a woman on site, right? Like, everybody's like, you're the first woman we've worked with, And so you can either stand out, sometimes that can be a good thing, and sometimes it can be a bad thing, too.
I kind of like it sometimes. I like showing off and letting them know I can do exactly what they're doing, if not better. That just might be my personality versus being a woman on a construction site, though.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. But we're strong, confident people, so.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you kind of get over the timidness at first. Like, just stepping up and doing the thing, right? Like, jumping in and doing, in construction too, you have to be active. Like, you can't be the one hanging off, off to the side, not jumping out, not cleaning up, not carrying things, not participating and being an active member of the construction team, right? And so sometimes and just in my experience on a Habitat site, when we have women volunteers who are like, oh, I don't do the heavy lifting, or maybe I can't use the power tools, and it's like, no, you can do those things, and you should do those things, and this is a safe space for you to try that out, which is I think the beauty of Habitat in general too. It's a safe space to test your limits and test your skills, and just really jump in.
You said earlier, it can be intimidating to be on a construction site. And we hope with our training program, and then when we work with volunteers too, we take some of that intimidation out. It is a safe space to learn. We're going to make sure that you're doing things the right way, the safe way. This is your chance, to go for it. So go for it. Yeah, and it's amazing how happy everyone is at the end of the day when all they've done for 6 to 8 hours is pick up 2x12s that are 16 feet long, and they got splinters in their hands, and I don't know, it's just a really good confidence builder to do something that you never thought you'd be able to do. And I say that to all of my volunteer groups, but the women too. Like, you came in here and we got this subfloor down, and not a lot of people can say that they've put a subfloor down on a house. Like, you guys can go home now. You can drive by this house in a few years with your kids and say, I helped build that house. Which not a lot of people get to do that.
Yeah, and just women having, the confidence to try things, to learn new things about, just building in general. It helps the space you live in, gives you the confidence, maybe the vocabulary, maybe, you're not going to be able to fix whatever on your house or wherever you live yourself, but maybe if you are hiring a subcontractor, for one, it gives you the confidence and the vocabulary to maybe know what you're talking about. But then also, you think, if you're coming to a Habitat site and you're framing a house, right? If you're painting, so maybe when it comes time for you to do that stuff on your own, you're like, you know what? I can do this. I have the skills. I can maybe do a little bit of research. And figure it out myself, and then I will go ahead and do it instead of maybe hiring somebody else or helping a friend, right? It's just those skills that grow. There's nothing more empowering than having those skills that you can continue to build on and enrich yourself and your community, I think, too. I think, so starting at Habitat, right, I started out as an AmeriCorps construction crew leader, so I had very little experience in the trades, especially with building new homes. My background is in historic preservation and restoration. But you come into Habitat, and just the overall philosophy of Habitat too, we invite volunteers in to build houses, right? Like, any for-profit building company is that's a terrible model, right? Why would you do that? But so just from the very beginning, our idea is to bring in community, to teach and to empower, to help provide affordable housing, right? And so just that idea with being an employee, you have a lot of opportunity and space to try different things, to grow your skills, right? From everything. So I remember loading and doing trash runs, learning how to properly load a truck, up to learning how to frame a house and put on a roof, right? So we have people at every stage who are teaching you and want you to learn. And just my own personal experience. So I started out as AmeriCorps, was hired on as a full-time site supervisor. So did that for about 4 years, then got to move into the repair program. So looking at the flip side of things. So how to manage subcontractors, build a schedule and a budget. And then this opportunity came along. So I think Habitat overall has a lot of opportunity, and you got to work for it, and you got to put the time in and the effort and want those things. And so I do appreciate that I've had that freedom to try different spaces here at Habitat.
And I'm the same way. You start as AmeriCorps. I didn't have any experience outside of, DIY Diva weekends and doing landscaping and things. And, Habitat gave me a chance as an AmeriCorps, and within a few months they're like, you're pretty good with volunteers. Have you ever considered a career in the construction field? And I was thinking, no, I'm just here to help pay for school. And here I am over 5 years later, and I absolutely love it. There's still days that I come into work and I'm excited to go build. It is a fun job, and I am thankful for Habitat for just allowing us to try things, because we've both been in several different roles and excelled in all of them.
We're amazing.
Very humble.
We're so strong.
Part of why I'm here at Habitat, before I was in AmeriCorps, my friend started, and she told me, because I was concerned. I'm like, are there any women, doing what we're about to do? And she's like, oh yeah, there's a girl named Holly that works here, and there's a girl named Brandy that works here. And I immediately felt more at ease knowing that there were women out there doing it. So yeah, it's nice to have the examples, but it's just nice and comforting knowing there are other women doing what you want to do.
So the construction training program is a 6-week workforce development initiative. It's aimed at getting people who are interested in a career in the trades an entry-level job. So we focus on the basics. So our program is meant for people new to the trades. So it can be, we've had young individuals coming out of high school, and we've had people who have been working in other fields who are interested in making a shift to a long-time permanent career in the trades. We use a nationally recognized curriculum called the NCCR Core Curriculum. It starts with the very basics, with basic safety. We move through hand tools, power tools, construction drawings. We do communication and employability, so those are 2 softer skill classes. We have a course on basic rigging and material handling. And then we also do OSHA 10 hour in construction. And then in addition to that, we have other services that focus on conflict in the workplace. We do a financial literacy course. We assist the students with resume building, interview prep, mock interviews. We help make connections with employers. And then we also take the students out on to Habitat build sites, where Felicia is their site supervisor for about 10 days of on-site work.
And last summer we completed a branch-style house in Laughlin, just with students. So it took 3 classes worth of students, but we started with a blank foundation. We framed all the walls, we did the subfloor, we did all the vinyl siding, and it was wonderful to see people that came into class that didn't know how to use a tape measure. At the end of their 6 or additional 6 weeks, sometimes 12, be able to step back and look like, wow, I raised that house up from nothing. So it's a huge confidence builder. You can see the pride in their face, and it's really cool to see as an instructor too. Mm-hmm. So on average for our classes, if we have 8 to 10 people, we usually have 1 to 2 women in the class. They, again, just like on the construction site, they tend to stand out for good reasons though. They're usually more very attentive, attention to detail. They ask a lot of questions. I don't know, maybe it's just the construction training program itself just attracts those type of people, those strong, opinionated, like, I got a question, I'm gonna ask it right now type of people. But yeah, our construction training program has turned out several strong women in construction. Our first class, we have a few people that are still in the trade. It's been about a year, and they're still at their companies. So that feels good.
Well, we start out the class with like an intro to trades class where we just share about all the different opportunities and fields that people can go into. And I think one, not just women in class, but everybody, it kind of opens their eyes to how many opportunities there are. And I do appreciate this about Tim, who teaches it. He really focuses in, he was like, do you think a woman can do this job? Like, he'll bring up something, and then he's like, who do you think is better at this job, women or men? And sometimes I think, I appreciate that he does that, because some people do have it in their mind, like, this is not a field for me, I'm not even going to entertain it, or even consider it, but maybe it's something that aligns with your skills or your interests, right? And so I think it is eye-opening for the women in the class to realize, like, I can do these things. I'm just as good and skilled and as strong as these people around me.
And we have classes now from before where they can see, we had female graduates and they're off and they're doing exactly what they want to do, and they are starting their careers, whether it's in carpentry or concrete or weatherization. They have examples now to look to. Mm-hmm. And I've said this to several of the women in the class, if you don't see yourself on a construction site, then you're going to have to be that example for the next person. So just get out there, do it, make your money. There's a lot of money in the construction industry. Go get your piece and be that example for the next woman coming in.
Yeah, and I thought we tried to bring in guest speakers too. One, just to introduce the class to the different trades, but then we've had a woman come in, she's a 30-year iron worker, right? So she's the one on bridges, on skyscrapers, doing all the heavy lifting. She brought in her tool belt that weighs about 40 pounds and asked the other students, if any students want to put it on, and you see them kind of shrink under the weight. And so one, it's just an example of what a long-term career she's built, and her just physical strength, and it's just, I think that really was like, wow, that was impressive. And we've had somebody come in, she was a third-year apprentice pipe fitter. We've had somebody else come in, she was a commercial electrician, now she's on the purchasing team with her company. And then we've had men come in too, so we've had journeyman painters come in, apprentice carpenters, men from different trades too, and highlight and talk about their experience. But I think it is just the idea of how much opportunity there truly is out there.
Do it now. Do it yesterday.
Yeah, don't wait. If you're on the fence, do some research. I always tell students coming in, I'm like, if you don't know what field you want to be in, just go online and watch some videos. Do some research.
Something attracting you to the idea of being in construction. Do you, maybe you have an artistic side to you, or you're just, some people just love swinging a hammer. But, there has to be something in you that's drawing you towards construction. But yeah, just get out here and do it. It really is fun, and it's not bad. And again, it's a safe place to try different things and to learn the safe way to use tools. All of our volunteer instructors are extremely nice and patient with people. And the same thing on site. I'm your person on site, or Holly would be your person on site, or the volunteers that you've been in the classroom with are the people on site with you. So you're in a comfortable setting to learn things and to grow as a person.
Come out and volunteer, get a taste of what it's like to be on a job site. Habitat, I think, is the best place to experiment with what that might be like. We have builds going on all the time at different phases, and so you could be in framing, you could be in finishes, right? So it's a good place to test out and just witness and experience for yourself what that might be like.
Yeah, if you're not ready to commit to the whole program, you could give up a half a day on a Saturday to see what it's like on site. Because most of our volunteers are older men. There's a couple volunteers that have special places in my heart, like Miss Judy from Sycamore Coalition. She's one of the few regular volunteers that we have that is a woman. But no, I kind of like that idea. I did a Women's Day build a couple years ago with a bunch of ladies from Messer. I think they work more on the office side of things, but they wanted to come out for the day and build with me, and we put in joists and framed out a staircase and stuff for the basement, and they had a great time. And I would love to see some of those ladies back out on site instead of it just being like a one-off,
You okay with using a porta potty?
I mean, truthfully, like, we joke about it on site, but that is a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
It's easier for the guys to use the bathroom on site.
it is. Yeah. I mean, in construction, right? You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? I mean, you're dealing with all the
Tight
elements.
spaces, it's hot, it's cold. I've had people sweat on me. I've had, yeah.
Splinter. I mean, you're carrying things all day. You could just, one day could just be like moving stuff from one place to the other, and then you realize the next day you got to move it back, right? It's understanding it's going to be physical and hard, but it's so rewarding in every aspect, right?
You're using your brain every day. You're using your body every day. You're working with usually nice people. It's very much a team sport, especially when you're on like a framing day or something like that. You know, having people around you that you enjoy, it makes the work a lot more fun. Yeah, go by quickly.
You get to interact with a lot of sometimes grumpy people, but sometimes fun people, right? And in the end, everybody's job is the same, right? They're trying to get their task done. And so it's just learning how to work with people and enjoying it, right? I mean, it is fun. I do miss being on site because, I mean, you're joking while you're working, right? You're just